Friends, today we are going to discuss another architecture pattern called health monitoring endpoint pattern. Now, the premise of this pattern is very simple. Let's say you have a cloud or you have on-premises servers as well. You have some servers on which your application is everything is fine. Okay, good. Now, what happens is since your application is running on some hardware and there are always going to be multiple cases in which your application can fail. For example, the hardware fails, instance hardware fails, your database fails, another service on which you are dependent fails, or even if the applications are not failing, but there is degradation in service. For example, CPU usage on this instance is high, latencies on your applications have become higher, you are getting error codes on your application. So how are you going to monitor your application? How are you going to make sure your application is running all fine? So what we do is, first of all, one can basically collect the system metrics. System metrics like CPU, memory, file descriptors, and maybe process level metrics, JVM metrics. You can collect all these metrics, but these are going to give you very low level view of your system health. Low level view as in it is not going to help you determine whether your application is running fine or not. You can get CPU, memory, FT, process details, JVM details, but it is not going to tell you whether your application is running fine or not. And it is not going to correlate the facts for you. It is not going to check. You will have to individually check instance health, instance CPU, database CPU, under the service CPU. But to get a better holistic idea of your application, you have to move a step higher. Instead of these metrics, you have to move to application level metrics. What app level metrics is, let's say your application is running on this instance. Your application is running here. This is your app. So what you can do is you can expose an endpoint, let's say status. And in status endpoint, what you can do is you can check whether you can make a very simple query to your database to check whether database connectivity is there or not and whether queries are running fine or not. Similarly, you can call another service like you can have another database like Redis. You can have this database. So what you can do is you can get set a particular key whenever this status API call is there. So if everything is running fine, you can give 200. That means your status is running fine. And if you want to give a better or more fine-grained view of your system, what you can do is you can give a response which is like DB, okay, Redis, okay, and service 1, okay, and let's say you have service 2 which is not okay, you can give 4xx, like you can give 500, right? So in this status check, you are giving fine-grained details of internals of your application health, right? So that is one thing, and this is called health monitoring endpoint. And the pattern in which you expose your health monitoring endpoint is called health monitoring endpoint pattern. This is a very simple concept. You just have to expose an endpoint, or you have to just expose some way for an external application to know your application's health. So this scenario is frequently used in cloud systems. For example, you have an ELB and all your traffic is coming to your ELB. So what ELB provides is it provides a way to request you to provide a health check endpoint. So for example, if you provide health check endpoint as /health, so ELB is going to periodically call all the instances which are behind ELB on this API. They are going to call this API on all the instances, and if status is 200, then this box remains behind ELB and traffic is routed to this server. But if, for example, this health endpoint is giving 4xx or 5xx, that basically it is given non 2xx HTTP status code. So what is going to happen is, after a certain number of health checks, for example, it is going, let's say it is going to make 5 /health API calls to your instance, and if those are not 2xx, or that is 200 status code, then this ELB is going to stop sending traffic to this server. It is going to stop sending traffic to this server. And though the traffic is stopped, it is going to periodically call the health check URL. And if health check URL starts succeeding, then it will again put this server behind the connection, and it is going to start sending traffic again. So this is one of the applications of health check URL. Now let's see, one of the ways is exposing these details. You are basically exposing a health check URL which is checking all the essential components for your application and then returning a status code to which you can basically know the current health of your system. What are the other things that we can check with this pattern, or that we can improve in our system with this pattern? Another way we can use this pattern is, for example, if you have a website which is serving some particular page, this is the web page that this website is serving. So what you can do is, one of the health check for this is going to be, you are going to periodically call your API URL. You are going to call this web page and check whether it is giving 2xx or not. If it is not giving 2xx, then you can raise an alert or raise an alarm that your website is not working, and then engineers can fix that. This is one of the patterns. Another way of monitoring this website can be, you can have a content based check along with HTTP status based check. So you can basically check particular phrase or particular line or particular text or title in your web page, and if it is present, then everything is working fine, and that if it is not present, then you can raise an alert. So this is going to give you a better view of your system. For example, if your website is working but it has been hacked, so what is going to happen? It is not going to serve your page, but it is going to serve some hacker's page. So in that case also, you can get a timely alert. There are other scenarios as well. For example, if your web page is returning 2xx but it is not serving a proper page, so those kind of scenarios can be handled when you have content based. This is called content based monitoring. So an application is going to poll your website and going to check whether a particular content is present in your web page or not. Let's see what other types of checks we can do. Another checks that we can do is, we can have an application monitoring system. Let's say monitoring system. This is our application monitoring system, and it is going to periodically call your API. It is going to periodically call your API, and it is going to check its latency and maybe status code. And if you want, you can also check its content. And depending on the responses and the latency thresholds, you can raise alert. For example, if the latency is greater than 200 milliseconds, then raise an alert. If the status code is greater than 4xx, if the status code is 4xx or 5xx, then you can also raise an alert. If your API does not contain a particular data, then you can raise an alert. So these are the different ways in which you can monitor your APIs. Another way to monitor your system is, you can basically check DNS resolution time. Because every API call requires DNS resolution itself. For example, you have an application which is which calls another application, and you are using some domain name, for example, abc.com. If your DNS or the DNS that resolves abc.com is not working fine, then it is going to take time in DNS resolution and it is going to increase your application latencies. So what you can do is you can periodically resolve your DNS, and if DNS resolution takes time, then you can raise an alert that DNS resolution is taking time and it needs to be looked at. You can go one step ahead also. You can basically check the contents of DNS resolution. For example, if let's say you are maintaining google.com, and if it is resolving fine, if it is resolving in time, but it is not pointing to any IP, if there is no IP present in google.com, then that is an issue, because it is resolving fine, but it is not resolving to any IP. Or one step ahead, what you can do is you can keep a double check on the IPs that are being provided. For example, if your domain name gets hacked, if your domain name is down, and if malicious users are able to get hold of your domain name service, they can point your company's domain names to another company's IP, or some malicious website also. So you can basically check the content of domain name service responses, and if there is any discrepancy in those responses, then you can also raise an alert on that. So that is another kind of monitoring that you can do. Another kind of monitoring that you can have is, for example, you have HTTPS google.com. Now HTTPS works on SSL certificates. SSL certificates need to be valid for HTTPS websites to function, and if they get expired, then it is going to impact your website. Some browsers are not going to open that website if the HTTPS setup is not fine. So you can create alerts on HTTPS certificate validations and expirations. So if so what you can do is you can create an external service which is going to call your website and check the validity and verify your HTTPS SSL certificate. This is application monitoring system. You can write your own, or there are services which provide this types of functionalities. It is going to periodically poll your website and going to check your certificates, and if they are expired, they can basically raise an alert to your email or phone or whatever way of alerting you are using. But the premise is you can have an external service which can monitor SSL certificates for you as well. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you have to keep your application monitoring stack in a different premises. For example, if all your servers are running here and you keep your application monitoring service here, then maybe it is going to connect and maybe the latencies are going to be fine, but actual users are not present in your premises or in your cloud. Actual users are present somewhere else physically. So you should have application monitoring stack in places where it is naturally in users environment. So you can have application monitoring servers throughout the country which are basically checking the health from different points, and it can give you a better view of how your users are behaving, or how your users are accessing your website, and are they able to access your website in a reliable and stable fashion. Also, your application monitoring stack should be near to users. It should not be in your cloud premises, though it is good to have application monitoring stack in cloud premises rather than not having it at all. But the best practice is to not keep it in your cloud premises, but at somewhere where the users, it can basically emulate users, it can emulate the latencies that users are getting, it can emulate the connection errors that users are getting. And if your users are basically spread in, if your application is spread in multiple regions or multiple clouds, then you should monitor all of those clouds. So for example, if your application is present here as well as here, then your application monitoring system should basically monitor both of these. Both of these services should expose application monitoring health endpoints. Another thing to keep in mind is, let's say you have an application, is a heavy application which is serving a lot of traffic, and it is then in microservice architecture, it is going to be dependent on multiple sources. Like it is going to be dependent on DB, it is going to be dependent on cache store, it is going to be dependent on other services, service 1 and service 2, and let's say it is going to be dependent on some less important service. So what you can do is, instead of exposing just a single application monitoring endpoint or health monitoring endpoint, you can expose multiple endpoints. Let's say you can expose status, which is going to check the critical components only, without which your application may not be able to perform. Let's say it is going to just check health of, it is just going to check health of your database and your service 1, which are very critical for your overall health of your application. And if database or service 1 goes down, your application will not be able to perform. Right? This is the most critical check. This is the, let's say this is the most critical. Another type of health check that you can expose is, you can expose flash and in this what you can do is, you can basically check all the components, and it is going to give the overall health. So, and this is least critical or not critical. So it makes sense to create alerts on this, so that if this status check is failing due to DB or service 1 unavailability, then you should take very fast action. And if overall health check is failing but status health check is not failing, then what you can do is, you can take a less critical response, or what you can do is basically not check DB and service 1 in this. It depends on your use case, but that's what it is. If you want, you can check that. But in this way, what is going to happen is, if overall health check is failing, that you know service may be degraded, but it may still be able to function. And if your status health check is failing, then it means that your service is unavailable and immediate attention is required. That way you can have different level or different criticality of health checks. There can be multiple more health checks also. You can have a health check for each service individually also. That is up to your up to your decision. Also, you have to make these endpoints secure. Now, these endpoints are going to check or going to query your critical resources like database, cache, service 1, and all the other services. And if a malicious user gets hold of these endpoints, he can basically bombard or can do distributed denial of service or denial of service attack on your service, in which he is going to call multiple times your status endpoint, which is going to query your database, and if and it can basically impact your database performance or service performance. So you should have proper monitoring over the number of calls on your status health checks. You should have authentication. What you can do is, if required, you can allow only private IPs or private network calls from private network instances to your status check health points, so that, for example, let me give you an example. If this is your cloud and these are your instances, then health check service should be in the same cloud network. It should not be from outside, though it defeats the purpose of having by having service a health monitoring service in your cloud network. But this is also a way if you need more security. Another way of securing your health check endpoints is by having authentication. You can do JWT authentication or password authentication But most of the services, cloud service providers, don't provide authentication in health check URL. For example, in the ELB, in the example in which I told you about ELBs, these the health check calls from ELB to the instances does not support authentication. So if you create application on your instance one which requires username password to call health check URL, then it will not work because ELBs or AWS and Azure does not provide authentication in health check endpoint. Other things that we have to keep in mind when using this application monitoring, application health monitoring endpoint pattern is, since the work you are doing when you are checking the health of your system can overwhelm the system. If, for example, what you do is you create a dashboard. You create a dashboard which checks, which shows the graph of not just graphs, or it shows just whether the service is working fine or not. It gives okay. Right. If multiple users open this dashboard, so it is not going to be high scale, but still, if multiple users open the dashboard, it can overwhelm your service. To prevent that, what you can do is you can cache this application health check URL. It totally depends on your use case. You should not basically do real-time visualization using application health monitoring endpoints. And if you want to do that, you should either store these responses in some database and then visualize over that, or you should use some caching system to cache those calls. Another fun way of securing your application is, rather than creating very verbose or very common status check URLs, what you can do is you can use security by obscurity, in which you can expose 1, 2, 3 status 4, 5, 6 or whatever health check URL you want. That way you can have security by obscurity. So that's all for the health endpoint monitoring pattern. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's see how you can improve the health of your system. Share some of the stories of how you have used this pattern in your services. Let's discuss on it. Thank you and have a nice day.